Good morning, children. Today we will study the lesson, the Vedic period. In the first part, we will study the origin of the Aryans in India, sources of Vedic civilization, early Vedic literature, later Vedic literature, and the archaeological sources. So let us begin. The Vedic period. Origin of the Aryans in India. The Vedic civilization succeeded the Harappan civilization in ancient India. The Vedic period refers to the time in history from approximately 1750 to 500 BCE, during which Indo-Aryans settled into northern India, bringing with them specific religious traditions. The Aryans are believed to be people having origins in Central Asia and who spoke an Indo-European language. They first settled in India between 1750 to 1000 BC, and this period is known as the early Vedic period or Rig Vedic period. The period from 1000 BC to 500 BC is known as the later Vedic period. Sources of Vedic civilizations, Vedas and epics. The storehouse of the Aryans' wisdom is contained in the Vedas and other allied books. Historians have derived more knowledge from the literary evidence, that is, the Vedic literature, than from any other sources about the history of the Indo-Aryans. The Vedas throw much light on the social, political, religious and economic life of the Aryans. The Vedic literature, which comprises of 4 Vedas, can be divided into 2 groups on the basis of their age and composition. Early Vedic literature, later Vedic literature. Early Vedic literature comprises of the Rig Veda. The Rig Veda is the oldest Veda and therefore known as the first testament of mankind. It comprises of 1028 hymns or mantras written in praise of various gods, representing various aspects of nature. Much of Indian philosophy is based on the Rig Veda. The Rig Veda is divided into 10 books or mandalas. In mandala 3rd, we find the reference of the famous Gayatri mantra composed by the sage Vishwamitra. Later Vedic literature comprises of other 3 Vedas. The Sama Veda. The name comes from the word Saman, which means a song or rhyme. Its hymns are meant for priests who used to sing them while performing the yajnas or sacrifices. It contains 1875 hymns. The Yajurveda. It contains chiefly hymns that describe the rituals to be observed while performing yajnas or sacrifices. The 2 royal sacrifices of the Rajasuya and the Vajapriya are first highlighted in this Veda. It comprises of 2086 hymns. Atharva Veda. It has hymns dealing with charms and magical spells for subduing evil spirits and controlling diseases. The subdivision of the Vedas. Each of the 4 Vedas have 4 subdivisions or parts. The Samhitas, the Aryankas, the Brahmanas and the Upanishads. Some scholars add a 5th category, the Upasanas. The Brahmanas are commentaries on the Vedic hymns, rendered in the simple prose on ritual ceremonies and sacrifices. Aryankas were written for the guidance of hermits who lived in forest. They offer a bridge between the karma marga and a jnana marga. The Upanishads are the source of Indian philosophy that deals with mysteries of life, relationship between the soul and the creator, and the theories of the karma, maya and mukti. They are the great historical importance as they contain valuable information about the social and religious conditions of the Aryan. Samhita is a collection of mantras or hymns which are concerned with natures and deities. The Puranas too are an essential part of the Vedic literature. They are 18 in number and each has 5 sections. The Puranas tell stories of the creation of the world, legends of the gods, and explanations of how to perform religious rituals. The great epics. The 2 great epics, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, describe the lives and exploits of the great heroes of the Aryans. These epics have great historical significance as they provide sufficient information about the social, religious, economic and political life of the later Aryans. Mahabharata. The Mahabharata is an ancient Indian epic where the main story revolves around 2 branches of a family, the Pandavas and the Kauravas, who engaged in the Kurukshetra's war. Battle for the throne of Hastinapur. Interwoven into this narrative are several smaller stories about the people dead or living and the philosophical discourses. This epic was believed to be written by the sage Vaisa in a Sanskrit language. The final version contained 1 lakh verses. The Bhagavad Gita, which is the part of the Mahabharata, explains the philosophy of karma and immortality of the soul as well as the devotion of the Almighty. Ramayana. The Ramayana is an ancient Indian epic about the exile and then return of the Rama, Prince of Ayodhya. Maharishi Valmiki, who lived in 3rd century BC, composed the Ramayana. The epic was originally composed in Sanskrit language. The Dharam Shastras. Dharam Shastras are knowledge of the laws and judicial system of the Aryans has been derived chiefly from the Dharam Shastra, that is Manu Simriti, the Yajnakalya Simriti, the Vishnu Simriti and the Nara Simriti. The most significant is the Manu Simriti, which contains code of the Hindu laws and duties of each Varna or caste. It divides the 100 years span of life of a man into 4 ashrams. The first stage being the Brahmacharya ashram, the second stage as the Grihastha ashram, the third stage as the Vanaspratha ashram and the last stage as the Sannyasa ashram. Sources of Vedic civilization, archaeological sources. The discovery of iron implements such as hammers, spearheads, saws, etc. belonging to the later Vedic phase indicates that people had begun using iron during this period. With these implements, the people of later Vedic period were able to clear forest and put more land for agriculture. Agriculture became an important occupation and people grew various variety of crops. Discovery of a painted grey ware BGW poetry from sites in the Indo-Ganga divide Upper Ganga Valley and the Ganga-Yamuna Doab supplemented the literary data of the Vedic time. It also reveals that the later Vedic peoples were well-versed with sophisticated firing techniques. Okay children, so this was the first part of the video on Vedic period. Hope you will go through the topic studied today from your textbook also. In the next part, we will take up the remaining topic of this chapter. Have a good day.